Yes, we
Okay,
can.
great.
Awesome. All right. So, welcome everyone to our October Lunch and Learn about the federal Achieving a Better Life Able Savings Account Program. I'm Monique Stamps. I am the Public Policy and Outreach Coordinator with NC Silk. I'll do a visual description of myself. I am a Black woman with long uh, black and silver hair, kind of swept to the side, and I have on a white t-shirt. Um, and I'll let Gloria introduce herself.
Yes, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Gloria Garton, the Executive Director of the North Carolina Statewide Independent Living Council. I'm a white female with blonde shoulder-length hair, and we're just happy that you could be with us today. I'll turn it back to Monique.
Awesome. So I'll if you're not familiar with the with NC Silk, the North Carolina Statewide Independent Living Council is a federally mandated non-for-profit governor appointed council. A majority of council members must be people with a disability. And by federal law, the Silk is charged with developing a state plan and provisioning statewide independent living services, um, and developing and supporting a statewide network of centers for independent living, which we call CILS, and also monitoring, reviewing, and evaluating the state plan. So why did we choose this topic? We're presenting this topic to ensure that North Carolinians with disabilities are well informed about this awesome program, the facts about what qualifies as a disability-related expense with an ABLE account, and how it allows us to save money and keep our government benefits. So before I introduce our speaker, I want to do some accessibility reminders. Please remember to do image description of yourself before you speak. And captions are on if you wish to activate them. And this event will be recorded so that we can, offer a replay to folks who were not able to attend today. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. Our guest today is Jeff Hancock. He is the director of NC Able. Um, Jeff has a BA in business management from North Carolina State University, and in May of 2021, he joined the Department of State Treasurer Supplemental Savings Program, which includes the North Carolina 401k plan and North Carolina 457 plan, and the North Carolina Able program. And prior to joining the Department of State Treasurer, Jeff worked with BB&T, now Truist, for over 28 years. As division head for retirement and institutional services, Jeff provided leadership for all aspects of the division, including retirement services, investment advisory services, corporate trust services, and the mortgage document custody group. So with that being said, I will let Jeff take it away.
Great. Thank you for having me. And a brief description of myself. I am a white male, completely white-headed. So I grayed a little early, but that's what I look like. I want to thank you guys for joining us today here on this NC Able webinar for October the 16th. Since this is being recorded, I did want to mention that ABLE laws, as well as the NC Able's terms and conditions, are subject to change. So please always check back with the program and make sure you have the most up-to-date data on that. So today I'm going to cover, really just at a high level, a lot of the features and the benefits of the NC Able program. And so we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of the history of the program for those that you may not know. And as it was mentioned, ABLE stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience. The program is, or the law is about is about a decade old now. Back in 2014, President Obama signed it into federal law. In the year following, the NC Able Act was signed into North Carolina law. And then in 2016, the NC Able program joined the National Able Alliance, and I'll describe that in a little bit more detail on a subsequent slide. And we introduced our first accounts in January of 2017. So our accounts have really kind of been out there now for about 7 years. And the last thing I want to mention here, which is a very important fact, but at the end of 2022, President Biden signed into law, as part of the Secure 2.0 Act, the Able Age Adjustment Act. And what that will do is it will raise the age in which a disability must onset from the age of 26, where it is currently, to the age of 46, beginning in January of 2026. Why that is important is it basically doubles the eligible population of folks who can have a Able account. And again, I'll touch on that again when we talk about the eligibility. When you take a look across the U.S., there are 46 states that sponsor an Able program. All of these programs follow the same federal guidelines, so they operate very, very similarly. Where the programs may differ is that in the investments that are offered by the program and the fees that are charged by the program, and we'll talk about both of those in more detail later in the presentation. But one thing I wanted to note is the states you see here that are color coded in green, those programs are open to all U.S. residents. The states that are color coded in tan or gold are only open to residents of their states. And as you can see that North Carolina is a green state, so we are open to all U.S. residents. So why NC Able? Well, one, as I mentioned earlier, we're a member of the National Able Alliance, which is a consortium of states. So there's 19 different Able programs that are part of the alliance. And what that does is it allows us to use the leverage of all 19 state programs when it comes to buying power and negotiating with vendors. We're also proud that our fee structure is very, very transparent, and our fees are very, very competitive with other programs, and we'll go into the fees in a lot more detail later. We're also a partner in advocacy with the North Carolina General Assembly. So, as we get feedback from partner groups, we take that feedback and where it makes sense, we try to get the laws changed to improve the program. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of the NC Able program. So having an Able account allows people that are living with disabilities to save and invest their money in a tax-advantaged account that they can use for qualified disability expenses without jeopardizing their public means tested benefit programs such as SSI, Medicaid, HUD, and others. It's important to note that you do not have to be on the public benefits to open up an Able account, but it is a game changer for those that are, because most of those folks have been trained, especially those that are on SSI, that they can't save more than $2,000 without jeopardizing their SSI. ABLE accounts allow them to save beyond that $2,000 resource limit. And we'll talk more about that later as well. So let's talk about who is eligible for an ABLE account. So currently, as I mentioned, currently you have to have a disability that was present or onset before the age of 26. Again, that's changing to age 46 beginning in January of 2026. So as long as your disability was present before the age of 26 and only one of these other three things is true, then you're eligible for an ABLE account. So one, if you have a disability that can be evidenced with a written diagnosis from a licensed physician, or if you're eligible for SSI or SSDI due to your disability, or if you have one of the conditions from the Social Security Administration's a compassionate allowances list. And that is a long list. So we list the website here so that you can go and take a look at that. But that is a long list. So again, your disability must be present before the age of 26, and then one of these three items for you to be eligible for an ABLE account. It is a self-certification program. So at the time you open up the account, you self-certify that you are eligible for an ABLE account. And then every year thereafter, we ask that you certify that you're still eligible for it, an ABLE account. So let's talk about how to open up an NC ABLE account. So one, who can open up an account? Well, of course, the account owner themselves, that would be the person with the disability, can open up an account. Or it could be a person that has a power of attorney from the eligible account owner. Or for account owners without legal capacity, one of the following, and this is in order of priority. So an agent under power of attorney, a guardian of the estate, spouse, parent, sibling, grandparent, or an SSA appointed representative payee. And what I mean by these are in order of priority. If there's somebody higher on the list that is willing and able to open up the account, then that should be the person to open the account. In terms of actually getting the account open, it's pretty simple. You can go to ncable.org, click on open an account. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to walk through the process. We do have a checklist online that will tell you what all the documents you would need to have in front of you as you sit down to do the process. You have to make sure that that process is as efficient as possible. If someone doesn't want to use the online system, we do have forms that are available that you can print off, fill out the form, and mail that into our program manager. If you need assistance, we do have a service center that is available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and they can assist you with opening an account. And once an account is open, they can also assist with managing that account. So again, it's a pretty straightforward process. It only takes about 15 to 20 minutes. You do have to have a minimum of $25 to open the account. If you open an account and you fail to fund the account, then the account will be closed within 90 days of it being opened if it stays unfunded. So again, you got to fund it with a minimum of $25. So I want to talk about some people that can be added to the account that could help out an account owner. The first is an interested party. So if we have an account owner that needs some help with their account, they're just, they're looking for some guidance, they can add a interested party to their account. An interested party would only have read access to their account. So they can go on, see the account, see the balance in the account, but they cannot perform any kind of transactions. Just simply view the account and provide guidance or advice to the account owner. If an account owner needs more help than just guidance, we do have the concept of an authorized individual. An authorized individual is someone who can be added to the account. That person would have all of the same rights and access as the account owner, which means that they can actually help manage and transact on the account on behalf of the account owner. So again, we have an interested party for someone who just needs some guidance, or if someone needs more help than that, they can name an authorized individual, and that person can actually help them manage and transact on the account. To add or to be added as an authorized individual, there is some documentation that our program requires. So for a parent, we would just need to have a birth certificate to evidence that. If it's a legal guardian, the document from the court that appoints the guardian. For an agent, it would be the power of attorney document. For a sibling or a grandparent, we do have an affidavit that would need to be completed and notarized. If it's a spouse, you can provide the marriage certificate. And if it's an SSA appointed rep payee, then the letter from the Social Security Administration. So let's talk about the contribution sources and the limits. So first, let's talk about the contribution sources. So the good news here is pretty much anybody and everybody can contribute to an account owner's account. So of course, the account owner themselves can put money into the account. Friends and family can contribute to an account owner's account. And we oftentimes see family members will make a contribution to an account owner's account in the form of for like a Christmas gift or birthday gift. They'll just make a contribution to the account. If the account owner had a 529 college savings plan and they had monies left over in that, they can actually roll those monies over into their ABLE account. So again, good news is pretty much anybody and everybody can contribute into an account owner's account. In terms of some of the limits, there is an $18,000 per year limit from all contribution and rollover sources. As I mentioned earlier, you can save beyond the $2,000 resource limit without having an impact on your SSI. Up to $100,000 is excluded from the resource limit calculation. So up to the first $100,000 is not included by SSI in terms of the resource limit calculation. If an account were to go over that limit, the amount above $100,000 would be included. If an account owner saw their SSI being reduced or stopped as a result of that, all they need to do is spend that account down below the $100,000 threshold, and those benefits should be reinstated. There is a $540,000 maximum account balance. What that means is if your account were to reach $540,000, you would no longer be able to make contributions to the account. Of course, the account would still earn would still earn interest and grow, but you would no longer be able to add contributions to that account. We do have what's called the able to work provision. So if we have account owners who are in the workforce, they do get an expanded contribution limit. So in addition to the $18,000 per year, someone who is working, they can contribute the lesser of their earned income or the one person poverty level for the prior year, which for last year that was $14,580. So how do you get money into an ABLE account? Well, of course, you can write a check and mail that into the program manager. You can do a bank-to-bank transfer into the program. If the account owner is working, they can have money put into their account through payroll deductions. We do have a U-Gift feature that allows people to gift into an account owner's program. And of course, if you're on SSI, you can have your payments directly deposited into an NC ABLE account. So once you have money in the account, you can invest that money in one of our 7 different investment options. Our first investment option is a checking account. That account is sponsored by Fifth Third Bank. These accounts are interest bearing. They are FDIC insured up to $250,000. You can get a debit card issued on these accounts so that you can use that at an ATM machine or wherever a debit card is accepted. These accounts do have check writing privileges, and there's no overdraft fees on these accounts. This is a great option for folks who use their money each month, whether they're using it to buy food or pay rent or pay other bills. The checking account option is great for those who need to access their money on a regular basis. For folks who may not need to access their money all the time, we do have 6 longer term investments. They range from a conservative option to an aggressive option. They are a mix of stocks and bonds, so it's just like investing in the stock market. The money could grow over time. These investments are not FDIC insured, and the performance is not guaranteed. These are great for folks who may be saving up for a larger purchase, like they say if they want to buy a house or buy a car, or they need to buy some type of assistive technology. These are great longer term options. We often see these used for parents who say they have a child. The child, say, is age 5. They open up an account for their young child, and they invest in these longer term options, and then you turn the account over to the child when the child turns 18. So these are great. Again, if you have a longer term investment horizon, or if you're saving up for a larger type of purchase. So let's talk about a qualified disability expenses. So as I mentioned earlier, these are tax advantaged accounts. And what that means is you put money into the account on an after-tax basis. The earnings that the account earns remains tax-free when you take the money out of the account, as long as you take the money out and use it for a qualified disability expense. Now, if you look at the law, qualifying the disability expenses is written very, very broadly. So what we like to say is, a QDE is any expense that's related to the account owner's disability that can be used for the benefit of the account owner in maintaining or improving their health, independence, or quality of life. So you can see some of the categories here, like education, health, housing, transportation, technology, financial, legal. So again, they're written very, very broadly. But again, I guess the thing to kind of keep in mind is, as long as it's an expense that's related to the account owner's disability that can be used for the benefit of the account owner in maintaining or improving their health, independence, or quality of life. Who decides what is a QDE? Well, we here at the program do not make that a determination. Again, they're defined by federal law. It's very broadly defined. There is no comprehensive list of goods and services that are always QDEs. The agencies that are responsible for determining that would be the IRS for income tax purposes and the Social Security Administration for SSI. We do provide you with some record keeping tools. So you will receive tax forms. So you would receive a 5498 that would list out your contributions for a given year, and you would get a 1099 QA for any withdrawals you made for that year. We do recommend that you keep your receipts, especially for large purchase items, in case you were to be audited or asked to provide backup for any other withdrawals that you made. So let's talk about how you get money out of an ABLE account. Again, if you have the checking account feature and you have the debit card, you can use the debit card wherever what is accepted. You can use the debit card at an ATM. You can write a check out of your checking account. If you don't have the checking account feature, you can still contact the program manager and they can write you a check out of the program. Or again, you can do a bank to bank or an electronic funds transfer. So I want to touch base on the fees that can be assessed to an account. So there is an annual account maintenance fee. This is assessed on all accounts. So that fee is $33 a year. That fee jumps to $58 a year if you elect to have paper statements. But if you don't have paper statements, then that fee is only $33. The way that $33 is split up is $28 goes to the program manager for the record keeping. $5 comes to us here at the state to help us pay for some of our costs to run this program. If you have the checking account option, Fifth Third charges $2 per month. But the great news is that fee can be easily waived. So if you have an average daily account balance of $250 or more, or if you elect electronic delivery of statements, Fifth Third will waive that fee. And the last possible fee is if you invest in one of those 6 longer term investment options I mentioned, the fee is 28 to 31 basis points. For those of you not familiar with the term basis points, it would be 0.28 to 0.31% of 1%. An easy way to think about that is for every $1,000 you have invested in one of those options, it's $2.80 to $3.10 a year. We often get asked about how ABLE accounts and special needs trusts work together. We kind of view these as two separate tools in the toolbox. There are differences in the way these accounts operate. So it really depends on the individual's need. If you were to inherit a large sum of money, you can't put more than $18,000 a year into an ABLE account. So if you had an amount larger than that, you may be better off with a special needs trust. So they have a little bit more flexibility in terms of how much money you can put into a trust at one time. But we see that ABLE accounts may be a little broader in what their funds can be used for. For example, you can't pay rent out of a special needs trust. So there's differences in the way these accounts operate. If you are confused on which might be best for you, we do encourage that you meet with a special needs trust attorney on that. We do have a pre-recorded webinar on our website that compares and contrasts the two different products, the ABLE account versus the special needs trust. So if you would like, please feel free to visit our website and review that webinar. We often get asked during these presentations, what happens when an account owner passes? So when we are notified of an account owner's passing, we ask for the person who has given us that notice to provide us with all of the final QDEs. Once we've been provided with all the final QDEs, we pay those out of the account. If there's any monies left over after paying the final QDEs and the account owner participated in Medicaid, then Medicaid may file a recovery claim. After Medicaid files their claim, if there's any monies left over, then the remaining account balance would go to the account owner's estate. We do have a large number of resources available. Again, if you go to ncable.org, we have a lot of information on our website. We have, as I mentioned before, pre-recorded webinars, FAQs. So there's a lot of information and aid that you can get there. Again, we have a service center available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We are fairly active on social media, so if you follow us, you could also learn about updates there as well. In addition to the NC ABLE website, there is the ABLE National Resource Center. Again, another good place to learn about ABLE programs. They do have a state comparison tool to where you can look at two state plans side by side if you're trying to decide which state's program is best for you. Again, a lot of good resources at the ABLE National Resource Center as well. Well, that's the end of my prepared comments for today. I'll pause here and see if anyone has any questions.
I do.
Yes.
Thank you, Jeff. Go ahead, Chris.
Yes. So I've got a little scenario to run by you, right?
Okay.
I have a consumer that is on Medicare, and she's unable to qualify for Medicaid because she makes too much money to qualify for Medicaid. Her income level is around $2,200 a month, she uses a normal banking account right now, but could she use this NC Able, like you were saying, the checking and this credit card, this or debit card? Could she open that type of account and then be qualified for Medicaid?
Yeah, I do not. Yeah, I do not believe so, because again, Medicaid is looking at their income, and that $2,200 a month that she receives is going to be, it's going to be the income that they test. So I think that would still exclude her from the Medicaid eligibility.
Okay, that was my main question there. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, this is Monique. So I actually have, my son and I actually have an Able account. And for a long time, I was very fearful to get it. It's been around, like since what, 2021. But I, for a long time, had a real fear of getting it, because I'm like, well, well, if you save money, because all my life, if you save money, if you have this, if you have that, car, house, you're going to lose your benefits. What would you say to folks who still have that fear that an Able account might somehow compromise their SSI or Medicaid if they already have it?
Yeah. So again, as I mentioned earlier, I like to think of Able accounts as an asset shield. So again, up to the first $100,000 saved in an Able account is excluded from the SSI resource limit calculation. And it's not counted for Medicaid either. So in terms of SSI and Medicaid, again, an Able account is a really good place to save when it comes to the resource limits. Now, any of those programs that do an income test, whatever income the person's earning, that's still going to be subject to an income test. But in terms of saving and having assets, an Able account is a great place to save money, to do that.
Okay. Anybody, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or post it in the chat if you're not comfortable speaking. But feel free to ask any questions that you may have.
Hey Jeff, I apologize if you said this, but is the slideshow that you showed available anywhere?
Yes, it is. I can I'll send that out to. I believe I have a Gloria's email, and Gloria, you can then send that out to folks here on the call today.
Okay, I think she may have dropped.
Yeah, she was having this is Monique. Gloria was having her internet got weak, so she said if she's able to hop back on, she would hop on by phone. But yeah, I'll make sure I'm going to send out all this information, the slide, to everybody in a follow-up email to make sure you have access to it.
Thank you.
And again, we're we're always here, and here to answer questions. So if questions do arise after today, please feel free to email us here. We're always happy to help.
Okay. Well, if we don't have any more questions, we get to wrap up early. And we'll, you guys, when we end the meeting, if you would be so kind, there's going to be a survey that's going to pop up. If you could please fill that survey out for us, we greatly appreciate it. It's going to help us improve our lunch and learns every month. Now, we will not have a lunch and learn for November and December. We're going to take a break for the holidays. So we'll be back in January. So thank you so much, Jeff. This was an awesome presentation. And thank you all for attending today.
Great. Thank you for having me, Monique.
Absolutely. Thank you
for the opportunity.
Yes.
Thank you.
Y'all have a wonderful day.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.